Yeah, well, there's a bit more gentle movement in some of the currencies so far, actually. Um,
Yeah, I'm a bit weary actually.
Bit wary, are you? Yeah. Yeah,
Mm.
it does get to, this is the thing. This market has been so brutal, and I've got to be honest, I had a bit of a tough couple of weeks, but I've managed to get back on top now, which is pretty good.
Clawed your way back. Good.
Yeah, yeah.
I've had a pretty good couple of weeks actually, a few weeks.
Yeah, well, let's talk about good morning, everyone, by the way, and good morning to Jeff. We are
Morning,
live
Ash.
on
Morning,
YouTube,
all.
just talking about the markets and how challenging they have been, and they have been extremely, extremely challenging. You can see the FTSE 100 dropped another 300 pips from the time it had closed down in the end. It dropped another 360 pips, which is pretty much another 5 to 6% to the downside overnight, because Donald Trump has banned European travel for 30
Go Donald.
days. Yeah, go Donald indeed. So, the good thing about this is we can probably wait for a genuine setup. Now, yesterday's trade, if anybody was listening in, yesterday's trade wasn't a setup trade. It was, good morning, PL. It was a trade off the back of a Bank of England rate cut decision, which should weaken the pound and boost the FTSE. And it did for long enough for me to make a slight profit on it. And if anybody's in the 2-minute briefing broadcast group, then you would have got the message to close those trades, or at least get stops to break even. So hopefully none of you got hurt on that, and it didn't cost it shouldn't have cost you any money yesterday to be in that long the FTSE.
But
So
we should have an access link to that somewhere, shouldn't we?
do you know what? I did put one in yesterday, and I will do it again today. Actually, I might even get to.
You don't need to now. I need to know if that link actually takes the people to where they need to go. Because when I follow that link, I only go to the Telegram group.
Yeah, I think it probably should do. I would have thought it would.
Hmm.
So the FTSE is no doubt it's in a buy zone, and when we look at this 15-minute chart down here, we can see that there is a little triple area of support just along there. Actually, it wasn't the 15; it was only on the 5, which is certainly not significant enough on such an amazing move. But there's a little triple area of support there, there, there. So the likelihood that we bounce from this point is high. But would I get into it? Well, you could go in light down here, but you've got to be asking yourself, what's the reason to go in light? And I don't even have a technical picture that suggests that this would be a buy. I mean, this price down here is a price that I've been looking at for a potential long, because when we flip this to a monthly chart here, it's just going to get all messy. Yeah, let's flip this to a monthly chart. The price that we managed to see this morning, put it on there, down there, and look where it is. Now, I looked at this yesterday and I thought, geez, we could even get down there. And that was when we were up here yesterday. And that is where we are. So there's no doubt that this is a buy zone. The question is why. That's the huge thing that we have to ask ourselves. Now, a 500 pip move to the upside is not out of the realms of possibility. But why would people buy here? I haven't got a reason except for price. Do valuations now become so attractive that people can buy in here? And the only answer to that is that I want proof. I want them to prove themselves that that's what's going to happen, because a small bounce, in the area will not be enough for me to say this is the time that we get back into to equities. Yes, we can trade some short-term bounces, and yes, we can probably take advantage of some pretty decent volatility down here in this zone. And there may be some small, some small trades that we can get on. But if we're looking at trying to get a 500 pip move, and really, the area we've got to test is somewhere up here. So we're looking at near 1,300 pips on offer from this low to this high, and we don't even need all of those. So we can really, genuinely wait for a decent turnaround down here. So that's probably what I'm going to do, mate. I'm going to wait for a decent turnaround. There's not to say that I wouldn't try and get in on a light level, but I do want something. I do want some reason, except for price, to get me in, because of the way the market has been. Now the FTSE 100 has just opened up, and let's see if the flurry of buying does come in. It looks okay at the minute. Just flip to a 15-minute chart here. Looks okay at the minute. Looks like it's going to attempt to do so. But as I say, mate, I just want some proof. I want some proof. Yep. I want a reason to get in. So I'm just going to stay out the way of trouble just for a little while, and see if I can get that proof. And let's get back to looking at some of the charts with the pivots, because this way we can at least draw some trend lines along here and ascertain what we're going to need to get through. So we got that. We obviously have to break this high here, which is going to be potentially in conjunction. So that price there is at 56.50. Now that's around about 80 pips away from where we are now. And even though that sounds like an attractive move to try and get involved in, while this is in a trend as it is, people are probably still likely to sell here. And if they sell and it's more shallow, then we can start looking. So that's the kind of proof I need, is that when it comes back, does it come back as hard? Does it come back with as much velocity? Does it come back as far? So so I think we let it go and see if it can test this level to start with. Yeah, 80 pips isn't that great, isn't that big a deal in the current environment and climate that we're in. So let it come back there and drift down again and see if we can create a low. And do you know what interesting? The other thing was, there was a point yesterday that I was looking at the charts and thinking, I wonder whether this area here that we were holding up at yesterday along here, I was thinking, I wonder whether I did look at that lower level as well, but I was looking at this and I was thinking, I wonder whether we might well have a left shoulder ahead here.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah, and I thought maybe we're sort of like really looking to pick things up when we get a proven right shoulder over here. So I was looking in this area to see whether we pop up, and then we're really sort of like starting to look in this area. Now, I suppose that's still a possibility. Market has reacted pretty positively so far this morning as it comes up, but we're going to need a lot more than just a 5 to 15 minute movement to the upside to get involved in this. But I suppose it could still qualify as the head. It's just going to be a bit of a sloppy one, which I guess with the current environment is not that unexpected and not that unusual as well. It might be not that much of what would be an unusual head and shoulders. Maybe that's just one of those things today. But the market is on the move, mate. As we speak, it's just managing to kind of like pick itself right up off the floor at least. So that triple zone has held fairly well. But as I say, it's got to get through this level. If it can get through that level, gets me all of a sudden interested, and at least we would then have an area to put stops on the longer term, and then we might even have a short-term trend as well. The pound yesterday, how frustrating was that? We got the pound.
It was frustrating.
Oh, I mean, we got it here. I don't know how yours worked out, mate. But my call was here. My call was there with a stop up there, and it tipped up to the daily pivot, and then the rest is history, as they say. But probably a little bit. When I think about it, we should really have had our stops up that little bit of a high point with the budget.
These are the talking points that we've had throughout the last couple of weeks, isn't it? Get those stops wide.
Yeah.
Because the volatility can just eat you up, and then bang goes 100 pips in the direction you knew was going in the first place.
Yes, yeah.
Bugger, damn, puppy, cack, and all those sorts of words.
Oh yeah. But just one of those things, it's one of those things that happens. Really, and I suppose maybe I wasn't on top of this more because I was in a FTSE 100 trade long, And the reason I hadn't taken the pound is it would have been the same trade, because the reason I was in the FTSE long was because
Mhm.
I thought the pound was coming down. So effectively, I would have been looking for the same trade by shorting the pound. And maybe that's why I didn't look again later on, because there was certainly an entry later on as well in the day. And some of you may have got it. I don't know. It depends on your experience with the charts. But later on, if we look at this this hourly, that was another nice entry there. And certainly after seeing the 4 hour, unable to kind of get through here on the second one, then there was a little bit of a hint that that we might actually start to see even this bar here would have put us in to a potentially into a trade, another pretty good dark cloud cover with a stop at the high. That would have also been a potential trade to the downside with the pound. But yeah, as you say, mate, very frustrating when you pick a direction right, but you get the management of it wrong, and that's what happened. Just got the management wrong. So apologies for that.
SH1T occurs. It's as simple as that.
Yeah,
Let's, speaking of the pound, let's go
let's
there
do the
now.
pound. Yeah, let's do that. There you go, mate.
And 1 hour chart, guys. Those of you joining us for the first time, this is in beta test mode. This trading scenario, not yet a strategy, not yet a system. It's as old as the hills, this UK session breakout trade, but there are many variations to it, and we are trying yet another. This one calls for you to place a short 10 pips underneath the low of the last 3 candles prior to London session. So hourly candles, that is. That's this one, and this one. So the range is here and here. And we put a stop order short underneath this bar by 10 pips. So we get the low of that bar, and that is 1.12856. We'll round that down to 1.1285. Then we'll take our 10 pips off. So the entry becomes 1.1275. So we'll put that into the market. 1.1275 on a sell stop. And your stop loss for that will be the entry for the long. Don't forget we're trading this in either direction. And the entry for the long is 15 pips above the high of the range. So the low of the range was here, the high of the range is here. That's the last 3 1 hour candles before London session. And the high here is 1.13197. Let's call that 1.1320. We'll add 15 pips to that, and we'll call the entry or the stop loss for the short and the entry for the long as 1.1335. Got those numbers firmly printed in my brain. 1275 and 1335. There we go. So the short order is in place, and we'll now put the long order in place by going exactly the same in reverse. This will be a buy stop at 1.1335, if I remember correctly. And the stop loss will be 1.1275, if my memory serves me correctly. Hope I've got that right. I can easily change it if I haven't. Okay, again, guys, if you are trading this along with us, then you need to recognize that it is not a system or a strategy that has been proven. It is very much in beta test mode. So if you are trading it, very, very small risk. Okay, there we go. Entry for the long, 1.1335, and the entry for the short is 1.1275. Stop for the short is 1.1335. Stop for the long is 1.1275. Now, yesterday's trade, let me go back there because I know it was a loser, but I can't remember exactly how much we lost. We did trail a little bit, so we didn't lose the whole lot. 9 o'clock bar was probably that one. Yes. So the last three bars were 1, 2, 3. So the entry was short. Is that right? I can't remember. 7, 8, 9. So there was the range here. Short at, obviously we didn't get taken in long, did we?
Oh yeah, we got taken in long, yeah. Yesterday.
How? This chart's not telling me that. I seem to recall that. Oh, I'm on the euro. No wonder. Good God. Okay, now it all makes sense. Let's get rid of those trades, shall we? Hey, this might be a good experiment.
Yeah, well, yeah, maybe so, mate.
All right, okay. I'm going to keep this in, right? This is what account am I on? I'm on Paul's money. He won't mind. So let's do it properly, shall we? So we're doing a test run on the euro as well. Paul, if you're in the room, it's okay, mate. I'll pay it back. Okay, order is.
Oh, gosh.
Did anyone pull me up on all that? No. So it was great to see everyone paying absolute attention to this. Right, we've got a sell stop. Or we'll do a buy stop first, haven't we? Looks like we're closer to there than we are to the short. So the long entry, let me get this right. High of that bar there, which is the range, is 1.2822. So we go to 1.2837. I'm glad you guys are listening to me. You're not trading this, right? Or you're not listening to me. Either way, it's good. And the stop loss, bottom of the range, which is here, less 10 pips, 1.278. Whoops, hang on. 1.2780 becomes 1.2770. Should have known by the numbers, shouldn't I? Okay, 1.2837 and 70. Oh, it doesn't like that at all. Stop loss 1.2870. This is a buy stop. Entry 1.28. Oh, that's why. Okay. The high of the range is there. 1.2837. That's right. 1.2770. There's the reason. And we'll put that in the market. And we will now place the long. Sorry, that was the long. This will be the short. So it will be a sell stop. Now this time I have forgotten the numbers. We're selling 10 pips below the low, which is 1.2870, I think. And the stop loss, 15 pips above the high of the range of the last three bars before London session, 1.2837. That all makes sense. So now we've got two trades to monitor. Oh, come on. Give me a break. Stop loss 1.2837. That's it's the wrong way around. That's why I use the trade manager, guys. 1.278. Ah, dear. 2770. I did the same thing last time, didn't I? Righto. There we go. That should make a whole lot more sense. Righto. So let's repeat. The entry for the long, and this is the real trade. other than the rather than the euro trade is 1.2837, and the stop loss for the long is 1.2770. The entry for the short is 1.2770, and the stop loss for the short is 1.2837. Just repeating the system, that once triggered, if we're triggered long, we cancel the short. If we're triggered short, we cancel the long, and we immediately go, yes, John, trust me, it happens all the time. And that's why you've got to check. Once we get triggered, we cancel the alternate order. So if we get triggered long, we cancel the short. Get triggered short, we cancel the long.
I'm back, mate,
and we switch to a 15-minute chart and trail 2 bars. If they've got any questions around that, then only too happy to answer them.
Sorry,
righto.
I lost connection.
Oh, did you?
Okay. Yeah. Have you
didn't miss much?
Didn't miss me. Okay, that's good. Yeah, just all of a sudden just hopped off, and my chart froze, and I thought, oh, there's big orders going in the FTSE if they've closed trading, and then I noticed that actually I've just lost internet connection.
Oh, yeah, that would have been interesting.
But you know, the weird thing is, I've got my iPad next to me listening to the news, and that didn't go, and that's on Wi-Fi, so I'm not sure what was going on there. Anyway, questions. Should we get to the questions in the room, mate?
Yeah, I'm going to answer John there right now, mate. Right. I would possibly put down most of my losses. No, not most. That's not true. A good percentage of my losses down to bad entry and exits points. Absolutely. I don't do it so much now because I've got an assistant that tells me to check, but in the early days, my God, I just put the wrong numbers in, and I'm in the trade.
Oh yeah,
and it's going the wrong way.
Yeah,
you know, all sorts of little mistakes like that. So it absolutely does pay you to check what you're doing and concentrate, because one little slip and you can make a whole mess. So at the end of the day, what I learned to do was, if I did make a mistake, I just close the order instantly, whether I'm up, down, or sideways, because it can burn you, bad. Your mind as much as your account. Yep. The Trade Manager is a very good tool. I use it on the bigger time frames because I'm a lazy bugger, and it suits lazy buggers. But at the end of the day, you know, if you've got another job or something like that, then you can just set and forget, because the Trade Manager will look after it for you. So yeah, absolutely. Look, I'm against it, and I'm sure that I'll be struck by lightning by saying this, trading on small time frames. And the reason for that is that it does make you lazy. And I always, if I'm trading on small time frames, hour down, then I will not leave the chart. I've got to stay in front of the chart, because you need to react to certain things that happen. And the Trade Manager hasn't got a brain. Well, it hasn't got a brain yet. I know they're working on it, but it hasn't got a brain yet. So I much prefer to trade the smaller time frames manually, because I've then got complete control, and it forces me to stay in front of the charts. If I leave the Trade Manager to do its thing, which it does absolutely great job of, no question about that, but I can't change things when I'm asleep. So I'm either in front of the charts when I'm trading small time frames, or I'm not, and I don't want anything to influence my trading outcomes that I'm not aware of on small time frames. So that's me. Everyone's different, of course. What other questions you got there, mate, that you need to answer?
Oh, so we got let's just go back up. So the coronation is not working now, only Corona. That's what StarMax was saying. And LT, how come the pound and the FTSE moved down together yesterday? And I guess, you know, I was kind of I was thinking about this, that the pound did what it should have done, because the pound was when we had an interest rate cut, and then eventually, when the budget kind of came out, we eventually started to come down with the pound. the thing about the FTSE, and I I was concerned about this, and as I say, if any of you got the if any of you follow the 2 minute brief that Jeff and I do, then you'd know you would have not lost money yesterday. You'd made a little bit of money on the FTSE trade, because I did actually post out exactly the time of day that I came out, and it was in slight profit then. But or you would have moved stops to break even, which I actually posted as well. You could do that. So you shouldn't have lost money yesterday. But this is the thing. When they did lower those interest rates and the FTSE started to move up, but there was no follow through, I started to get quite concerned. And then we had the budget and it still was no follow through. And then you start flipping to the bigger picture. Now, the bigger picture is the world's economy. So the FTSE will always react to the world's economy first and foremost. What I was looking at yesterday to see is whether the pound could actually boost, the pound lot dropping back would actually boost equities in the US as well. I know it would have been a long shot, because it's just the quaint old pound, and it doesn't really make any big splash in the world these days. But I thought maybe because there was some action coming from another central bank, that the global equities might quite like that the S&P might quite like the fact that everybody's starting to follow, and we would start moving forward, which would have taken the FTSE with it. So that didn't materialize as we saw. So that was the reason that the FTSE moved down, because actually there was bigger events and bigger reasons to keep us down yesterday. Namely, the fact that Donald Trump has not so far announced what the plans are to get the United States economy out of its mire and out of its puddle. So that was the reason that they both ended up moving in the direction. The pound reacted properly. The FTSE ended up reacting properly as well, but the initial burst in the FTSE was soon swallowed up by a greater greater event, if you like, a greater message from what we should be looking at in the global movements. LT still short the pound. Should he close? Okay, well, Jeff and I can probably both.
What's your reasoning for closing, LT? That's the question I asked you first.
Yeah, that would be the same thing for me as well. And I have to say, LT, I don't know where you got in, but well done for getting in, by the way. Difficult one to get in. I'm just going to quickly grab. Actually, no, I don't need to grab the screen because Jeff's got it up. The weekly chart. Look at that weekly chart. If that bar ends up anywhere near where we are now, then there's no reason to close this trade. And in actual fact, you've got a head and shoulders pattern going on there, and this pound could come down quite a bit. The question really comes to my mind, with the Fed moving as they have, and probably likely to move again in a week's time. Why would the dollar strengthen? And that's the big question really with this one. So I would agree with Jeff. You have to understand the reasons why you would close. Because really you don't want to close because you're guessing on why people are doing what they're doing. You want to close because there's a technical reason to close. We are getting close to a support line. What do you need to see around that support line to suggest we're turning around? That's the questions you have to ask yourself. What time frame did you enter on? What was your time horizon? If your time horizon is on an hourly chart, then you should be really taking profit at the support level. So the low of so last week's open looks like a support line. Would you agree with that, Jeff? The last week's open in price?
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah.
This is the area that is of concern for a few reasons. It's the backside of a resistance trend line that's been broken. It's the underside, if you like, of an offset right shoulder.
Yeah.
So I can totally see that I'd be a buyer in this area if I got the right. But that doesn't mean, how many pips have you got there?
Well, this is the thing, and I suppose that's what you want to be thinking, LT, is if there will be buyers looking in a certain area, then of course you want to be taking profit in that area. But closing the whole trade, no, there's no reason to do that with the other half of the trade or other third. It doesn't matter how much you choose to leave on the table, but I would definitely leave something on the table. even if it's just a tenth, just for the practice of letting a trade run. But with that other small proportion of your trade, if you entered on an hourly chart, then and you are looking at hourly trends, what changes an hourly trend is a break of the previous level of resistance. So just tuck them all down. Just keep tucking down. You know, if you're there, you should be tucked down now, just above the daily pivot, or just above that price point, just where that white bar is. You know, that's where you should be trading your stops. It seems to me like you're probably in there and trailing. So, yeah, taking profit at the low is a good idea, but I would definitely trail. I would definitely trail on it. It's really good practice to get into. So,
you know, you've probably got, potentially another 50, 60 pips before you hit hard support.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
Yeah, and that's the area to take first profit. Really, I wouldn't close anything just yet. You can trail on both halves anyway on the hourly. Oh, okay.
Of course, that won't make it happen, but that's the prudent thing to do. One would have thought.
Yes,
given
absolutely.
the information that we've got in front of us. Yeah,
absolutely right. And if this is your last portion, then just trail it, mate. Just trail it, and then
just
ignore
keep trailing, mate. Don't even think about getting out.
So that's the thing with the pound. Okay, pound. Yeah, well done, Starmate. Show so you're right. Pound and dollar is on a inverted head and shoulders, and a weekly chart. Oh, you're seeing the head and shoulders going down to 122. Let me see that. Yes, it is on a head and shoulders. You're right. There's a bigger inverted head and shoulders, but there is also a head and shoulders pattern. You've got that as well, Jeff, right? It's a bit sloppy.
On
right
what
shoulder.
chart, mate? Sorry, what are we talking about?
Let's have a look on the daily.
On pound?
Yeah. It's a little bit sloppy, but there is a. Do you know what? That's probably not any more a head and shoulders. I think you can treat it like that. That left shoulder is a bit thin in comparison to this right hand side.
Yeah, on the weekly chart, I'm okay with it. I think
on the weekly, you're right. Yeah, on the weekly, it looks a bit better. It's still a difficult one, but yeah, I mean, either way, it looks like a potential high up there, doesn't it? And that's what we're trying to ascertain. So it could come down, and it could come down even harder. But I'd still have the question of why, and I'd want to check some COT data on that as well, which we might do in a little while. Haven't done that for a while, have we, mate?
No, we haven't. Lewis, which channel, mate? The daily chart, the weekly chart? Which chart? The descending channel or the ascending channel? If you're talking about this one, the weekly channel, on the ascending channel, what I've done is really averaged the highs, if you like. So I'm using the high of this bar, which is the open of this bar. I think that's the most uniform that I can find. If I were going to use the three tops, it's kind of a little bit of a license thing, I guess. It's what appeals to the other circumstances that you've got. And we've got a definite low here, definite low here. So I could sneak that up. I don't think it'll make that much difference, to be fair. I'd be still okay with that. So, yeah, I don't, name your poison. Do you want to use the opens or do you want to use the highs? And I'm more than happy to use either. It's really what suits more than anything else. And I'm even going back to here because these levels or this level, although some people wouldn't call it a level, I call it a level because the market has been there and it's reacted off it many, many times as both support and resistance. I love this level. I think it's great.
That inverted head and shoulders looks really good from out here.
On that chart, it does. Absolutely.
Yeah, looks fantastic. Starmax, do you know what, mate? The rate is in effect the drive with the rate cut. Yes and no, mate. You're absolutely right that we've now cut down with a pound and it should probably weaken. But we've got to now it gets passed back to the Fed, because remember we're trading the pound dollar here. Now the baton gets passed back to the Fed. So on the 18th, which is only a week away, we find out whether we're going to get another rate cut from the Fed. And if we do, then the pound is then likely to strengthen. So it really is just an up and down, left, right, topsy-turvy world right now. And, one goes, the next one follows. And it's the same with the euro. While the euro has been incredibly strong, the ECB so far hasn't moved. To my knowledge, to my recollection, I should say.
Well, we've got that today, mate.
I was going to say, yeah.
We've got a
So
press conference, and I'm absolutely intrigued as to what they're going to do.
yeah,
They're
me
at
too.
zero. We know that.
Yeah.
So what the hell are they going to do?
Yeah.
Great question.
Yeah. What are they going to do here? I mean, and this is where I think the European Union, as a as a trading bloc, suffers more than any other, because the American trading bloc, if you like, or the United Kingdom as a trading bloc, if as well, with Scotland, Ireland, Northern Ireland, and Wales, England, have the pound, and the Bank of England really reacts from the government. You know, they kind of like they lead together. The European Union Central Bank doesn't have a single government that it can react from. It's got a central body that it has to react from. And people that are sitting in Brussels obviously cannot represent each region equally. Not that they necessarily do in the UK, but it's a much smaller area to have to manage, and the same with the US actually. At least the industry has some centralized body of benefit. But with the EU, somebody will lose. You know, as somebody gains, somebody else loses. So I'm guessing if the EU do cut rates again, then it's meant to, or it should, boost a little bit of the German exports. But you know, it does mean the likes of Greece and Italy continue to suffer. So there's and Portugal. There's just it just makes the EU a very, very difficult prospect when you have situations like this. You know, when things are going great, it's not such a problem. But when things are bad, geez, this is a challenge, a proper challenge for them, isn't it?
I'm going to be absolutely gutted if this takes off. Absolutely gutted.
What, the euro?
The euro
To the downside.
Yeah. It hasn't yet, but
Yeah.
it's showing signs. There's no doubt about that.
Yes, it is. Yeah, it's looking kind of weak here, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
And you have to say, you know,
gutted.
they have to be they've got to do something, and you can see the price. Look at the price action, speculating that something's going to be done. So a euro short, I would have thought today is the trade.
Absolutely, but here, that's where I wanted to trade it from, and I wanted to trade it as another test of this line and a false break of this line, but they're not going to give me the chance to do that.
That's the problem, isn't it? I mean, you know, with a situation like this, and this is a good question to put out there. Is there anything that we can do that would flip? You know, is it too much for us to try and flip strategy to a degree?
Oh, look, it is for me, mate, because I've done that many times in the past for poor results.
Yeah.
So I'm not playing the sprinters game here. I'm just picking off the low hanging fruit, and if it's there, it's there. If it's not, then I'll watch everybody else jump in on the bandwagon, and I'm happy to do that. It doesn't bother me one little bit. But what does bother me is when I miss opportunities, and I missed this opportunity. That's why I'd be gutted.
Yeah.
I missed the opportunity to trade this. There was one here. There was one yesterday on the hourly chart. And it actually gave us probably two opportunities yesterday. But yeah, this one here was the one to trade for me.
Yeah.
And I missed it.
Yeah, and I agree with you. It's too late now, and it's one of those. It's very similar to what we did with the pound, and this is why, you know, you do what you do with the pound yesterday, and it actually helps you in a future trade, because with this one, I'd want to see this one back to 1.1290, and if it popped, which is around about the daily pivot actually, if it pops back up to that daily pivot and gives an entry, then I think this one's a pretty good trade. But otherwise, I wouldn't be getting involved. This is a buy zone right now, so I wouldn't want to get involved here. If you sell at the low of this area, then you're heading straight into the weekly pivot, which could cause a bounce. So you've got to wait for it to pull back. And who knows, it might buy into the event and then sell into the fact. So we could be buy the rumor, sell the news to a degree. It won't be the rumor, because the rumor is obviously for a sell-off anyway. But it might be that we buy into the press conference time, and then we managed to sell it off a little bit. But we got to be careful because the pound reacted in a unusual way. It appeared initially, but actually when you break it down, there was something else coming with the pound, so it actually reacted quite regularly. I think it's just the fact that it was a rate cut. I thought that'd be a lot bigger and even trump the budget, but it didn't do that. So let's see if the euro dollar can cut back a little bit. Then I guess this is the trade of the day. I would suspect, because we do have the main financing rate and monetary policy statement, and then the ECB press conference, and you would suspect there would be some weakening of the euro.
Well, the interesting part, I suppose, is that we are by mistake trading it right now, and I need to.
Are you selling that off?
Yeah.
Great trade, mate.
Oh, you were, weren't you? I put the.
I know you do. It was the pound trade.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought you cancelled it.
No, I don't.
If you're not going to close that, don't close it. You're not going to close it, are you?
No, I'm going to close the buy. That's what I want.
Oh, okay. I think you should enjoy it now. I think you should. This is one of those happy errors.
Why is that saying sell? That should be saying buy. Cancel. They're all sells. Okay, I'll work that out in a minute. So we're trailing this. We're trailing this on a 15-minute chart, right? So we've got another 10 minutes to go before this one closes. Then if we get another selling bar, we can move our stop. But until that happens, we can't move our stop. So we'll just sit here and wait. Chris, why does what chart look like an expanding triangle, mate? Is it the euro or the pound? And if so, which time frame? I'll start with the euro. We've got a daily chart up there.
Oh, it looks like StarMax is saying the same thing. Can we expect the euro dollar to drop 200 pips? Got the triangle breakdown. Let's have a look if there's a triangle there. Must be on the 4 hour.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the triangle. If this is what you're saying, equal lows and descending highs, yeah.
I'm not a fan of that either. I don't like the top line more as much as anything else. It's not a brilliant. No, that's not a brilliant pattern. Do you know what? I think we might.
I did see a good one this morning, but it's on the minors, not the majors, and I'm only doing the majors here. Maybe I can have a little look at that and show you something when you've got the charts up.
I think we could argue that there's a channel there, mate. I think that we could certainly there is a channel that we could probably argue for on the 4 hour chart, and it is really kind of no, not there actually. I would I'd start my channel. You see the lows. Yeah. So if you go to on the 4 hour, if you go to the 9th,
yeah,
and you start it on the 12 o'clock bar.
Yep.
There you got that one. 12 o'clock bar. It's a bullish bar. The low.
A bullish bar. That's my 12 o'clock bar there.
Oh, okay. Go up 1, 2, 3, 4. There's a doji, and then the one after the doji. Actually, it is the yeah. It's kind of the one after the doji. Actually, yeah, one after the doji. Where we are? No, left. Go back again. That one there. Really? Yeah, the low of that. The low of that.
The left of the doji.
That one. Yeah, the one that you got the low on. Yeah. That. No, you were right. That low was perfect. Go back again. That
We're
there.
obviously delayed here.
That's there. That's there. Now that's the high line. That's the top line. Now take that up and extrapolate so it runs to the top end.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. So now take that. So that's the low line. So you want that below anyway. So get rid of that down.
So where do you want this one?
Yeah, that one. Okay, so that's the start of it. It's great. So go to the other end so we can straighten it up. Yeah, and then go up, and I'll tell you when to stop. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going.
What are you seeing?
Yeah, keep going. There.
You're
there.
Done.
Yeah. Now bring the lower line down. Yeah. That's that. You know, you could argue that channel. because there's a few touches, a few closing sort of prices up there as well, which didn't get through.
Okay.
I mean, don't get me wrong, mate. I wouldn't use it by any stretch. But when I looked at the pattern, I'm like, well, I can't say a triangle there, but you could say that there's a channel there if you need some way to get a measured move. I think you could probably maybe use that as a possibility. But I take by your that you're not convinced, and now you do it. I'm not that
Not
convinced
mine.
either.
I think I need to get this off my chart.
Yeah, I think you're right. I took too long. FTSE 100 continues to move to the downside. We are now down to 55.03 on the futures. We have every single stock of the top 20. What's happened to my login details? Every single stock of the top 20 in negative territory. So certainly not so far a buying session, and doesn't look like a buying day. This is again back to the buy zone, but I wouldn't be touching it here. So I'm not sure how brave you have to be to go short. I suppose, for just the way the chart's reacting, maybe that's the only play in town. But
all right, hang on, a few questions here. PL, I'm going to answer this in two ways. I would have taken profit at this low if I was trading a strategy that is not this one. So in other words, I'm not taking profit on this particular beta test strategy until one of two things. We get 1-to-1, which takes care of a massive spike or a news event, right? And that 1-to-1 is a long way from where we are. So let me explain 1-to-1 to those of you who don't understand. So our entry is here, our stop loss is here, which is, let's say, 60 pips. I'd need to get 60 pips before I took profit, according to this system. Now, according to my common sense and everything I know about trading and support and resistance, there's no way I would trade through that level without taking profit. And there's no way I would trade through that level without taking profit. So if that confuses you, I'm sorry, but this particular strategy is not about filters at the moment. What it is about is seeing what happens. So it's a reconnaissance mission, if you like. We're actually seeing what happens if you let this go and trail two candles on a 15-minute chart. So in 3 minutes time, we'll have one, well, supposedly we'll have one that is a selling bar. If we get another selling bar next, then we would trail the stop to here, just above the candle and below our entry, so giving us profit. Okay, cool. And that's exactly what I would do. Okay, now guys, you're stuck on this triangle. I want to work this triangle out for you. Okay, zoom out into, tell me where. Tell me where, StarMex, come on. I don't see a triangle. Triangle. Okay. Concentrate, Jeff, concentrate. I'm not there, mate. I just don't get it. I mean, if you're talking about this scenario, actually, I won't use that. I'll use a pen. We can use a pen because we're technologically advanced platforms these days. We're just going to find out how to use it. Come on. Righto. We'll use a red pen, shall we? And we'll draw. So if you're talking that kind of thing, doesn't mean anything to me. But if you're talking this kind of thing, now I see what you're seeing. Okay. You're seeing a descending triangle here, right? Got it? Yeah, now I've got it. By George, I think he's got it. Erase, undo, clear. That's what I want to do. Have I got it, guys? Is that what you're looking at? The descending triangle? I've got to tell you, it's kind of okay. And I'm not arguing the point. definitely not. So I can totally see that now. Yep. Okay. Am I enamored by it? Look, it's there. So absolutely. 1, 2 false breaks and bang, away we probably go. The shame about this for me, as I said, is it hasn't broken resistance, which is where I'd like to trade it from. And that's the shame of it all for me. Totally get what you're saying. And the fact that we've got a double top in play, we've got lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, is telling me that this is potentially going to a strong support level. And that may well be this line here, which I've kind of said for the last, 3 or 4 days, that would be my minimum target for the retracement in any case. So that's that kind of goes exactly to where we've been talking about, which is here at the end of the day. Why am I not in it is the question that I ask myself. Well, I guess I am by default. Break and retest, we can short. Or, yeah, I was thinking that myself, but here's the problem you've got. If you're going to play a break and retest, you've got a big bar that's breaking here. This is the hourly chart I'm looking at. And if you go through the support level, which is the low of the day, and the weekly pivot, then come back, I'm okay. But if we break the low of the day, don't break the weekly, or don't touch the weekly pivot, then come back, then I've got a problem. And the problem is we've got an untested weekly pivot here in a retracement, which could at this stage be, if you like that, that parallelogram or the descending channel that we just drew, could well be a flag. I don't like it, I've got to say, but there you go. The best signals are often not the most pretty, that's for sure. But the break retest here doesn't really excite me because of that reason. So I think I've missed this one. I've just got to hope that there's another opportunity. As Ash said, if the ECB press conference decides that, nah, bugger, we're not going to cut our interest rates, I think you'll find that the euro will test the highs. So I think there may well be another opportunity to trade this. We will see. Of course, they've got to say that, number one. And number two is the market's got to do what I would expect the market to do. I'm just quickly going to whiz through the 30-minute charts and the hourly charts to see what we've got, guys, in terms of opportunities. Dollar yen. I actually love this. I think it's a great opportunity here on an hourly chart. You've got a clear double bottom. You've got a, if you like, double test of the bottom of the range that we're in. And this really is a significant higher low on the double bottom. I think intraday wise, this is eminently tradable. What I need to see, of course, is something that suits me from a slingshot point of view, which is my strategy, those of you who don't know. And I think I can probably find something that looks okay, but not exactly a setup. This is a potential false break here without question, but it's not, I don't see an entry. That's the issue I've got. So I've probably got to wait for what? Maybe a second false break. But also I'm very cognizant that there is a potential here for a higher low. I just got to get a bar that I like the look of, I suppose, or wait till we get down to this one and put in a similar false break. So I think dollar yen is eminently tradable, and I'm not saying that we're reversing here by any stretch, but I think we can take advantage of the fact that we may get another test of this 104.27 level. So I'm okay with that. Cable, look, it's in no man's land right now. I find it very, very difficult to get a technical read on this. There's been a former range over here that we seem to be back in. We've also had a breakout of the most recent range, which is today only, if you like. But it does look extremely bearish. But where am I where am I in terms of this market structure? I'm not at the high, I'm not at the low. So by definition, I'm dead set in the middle, and I really don't know which way this is going to go next. So I've got to wait till it gets to here, or I've got to wait till it gets down here somewhere before I can trade it. Aussie, I said this morning in my Trader Talk radio show that the Aussie is one of those impossible things for me to think long about at the moment. But that said, I keep seeing signals that suggest that it actually can go long. And I know that will surprise you by looking at this chart, because we've actually bounced off the daily pivot yesterday and we keep going south. But I only need to see price come back inside this range here that I've got, and then retest the bottom of it or give me a higher low, and I would be willing to trade this long. On the miners, I thought that there were a couple of opportunities as well, and they are in the, where are they? They're in that little thing we do, the 2-minute brief. If you want to know how to get into there, I think Ash has put the link into our show.
I will put it in right
he will
now.
shortly. I think there's probably some opportunities here that don't meet my bias even by a fraction. I'm super bearish the Aussie, and have been for the longest time, and I really don't see that turning around. But we're talking intraday here, we're talking 30-minute charts, and I'm only talking about taking a small portion out of the market. I mean, this one's a 200 pip one, but there's profit to be taken here and there's profit to be taken here. So that's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about this thing reversing and going back up to 75 cents or anything. I think that's nonsense talk. Dollar CAD, I similarly, how can you be bullish the CAD at the moment? I really don't know.
Yeah, difficult one, isn't it? I've been looking through the charts as you've been talking, and the only thing I would trade the CAD against is the Sing.
Yeah, it's really, really tough to be imagining that the CAD can rally, but it only takes, I don't know what it takes for oil to come back into favor, because they're just having this war at the moment.
Yeah,
and it's going to be a war of attrition. And you saw by the oil inventories last night on the dollar, or in the US, they're carrying way too many barrels of oil right now.
yes.
And that's only going to, embellish, if you like, sorry, the short nature of oil at the moment. And we know that some countries, most countries, are producing oil and making a loss on it. That's crazy stuff. Yet the pressure on oil continues, and it continues dramatically. If it turns around, and I'm not sure what does that, I really have no idea what does that, but if it does turn around, then I can definitely see dollar CAD being a sell, but at the levels that it's at. But I don't see that happening anytime soon. So I've just got to be, okay, let's stay out of that until we get a signal. Dollar Swiss is one that I do like because of the structure that we've got here. We've again put in another test of these lows, and I'd be looking to trade this back to the top of the range. That's the monthly chart we're looking at. So that's giving me a bias. There is the bottom of the range that we're talking about. This is the daily chart. We've had a big rally, big bullish engulfing bar. A higher low here really does get me interested. So let's drill down and see if we can find one of those things. And lo and behold, what do I see? I see a higher low sitting here in front of me, potentially. That bar there interests me. Okay. Risk factor. Risk factor here is high because you're trading straight into these highs here. Let me see if I can get a better scenario for you. Well, the answer no, because that candle there, which is tradable in some circumstances for me, isn't tradable because I'm trading straight into the daily pivot. So I've got to see this pull back again and give me another higher low before I get interested in trading it. They're making it hard, Ash. They're not producing anything that's very easy to follow. Even that, their potential entry is far too risky for me to take. So I've got to wait. I don't know. I've got to wait. I just know I've got to wait. I can't get in here right now, but I am in a bullish frame of mind, dollar Swissy, because of the chart patterns. It's giving me a nice double bottom, if you like, followed by higher highs and higher lows. I like it. Maybe one more low here. Maybe that's what we need to see. Then get back into the range. Finally, the Kiwi. What a candle Monday was on the Kiwi. Wow. Really difficult because of that candle to get a handle on Kiwi dollar. I don't see a structure here that really suits me at all. I do like the fact. Do I like the fact? No, I really don't. I was going to say I like the fact that we've taken out this low and then come back, but then the candle that we're looking at in the current week is just horrendous. Really is. I think that's something I need to stay away from. So the opportunities are there on the euro. If we can really get back up to here somewhere, I'll be happy and trade it short. Dollar yen, I'm happy to trade long. And I don't need to see too much more, I don't think, to trade this long. In fact, yeah. I'm just going to have a little look at this. I'll wait and see what this candle looks like. This is the hourly. I'll have a look at the 30-minute. Yeah, I'm going to wait. We've only got 5 minutes to wait, and I'll make it. We might as well stay here for that time, I guess. And that's about it, mate.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good. Well, the price action on the FTSE is not particularly palatable for taking any trades right now. I love the area. You know, I think it is. You know, like you, Jeff. I'm almost looking for a counter trend trade down here because we're at such a significant price. My problem is I still don't. You know, my approach is obviously different where I'm looking for the fundamentals to lead me, and at this stage, yes, I will speculate on what may happen, and I suppose you could make the argument the speculation about the ECB, putting something out of the bag will get traders interested down here. So that could be a reason to be looking for something in long stocks with prices as they are. But I personally think there's enough time to actually allow the news to happen in an environment like this. I don't actually think I need to be speculating too much. I think because there's so much room to the upside, I might just actually sit this one out and just wait for the news to actually be announced, and then see if I can get on board. And to be honest, there's not really a setup anyway. You know, the setups are incredibly weak down here, and inevitably you get those. You know, there are weaker price action setups in an area like this because we are at the lows. So it really the best way to trade this is to see if it can bash its feet on the lows a few times and see if they hold, and then trade it, or just see if it takes off, which it's likely to do in this particular at this particular price point. But maybe a little
We need
take
to see
off.
your chart, mate, I guess.
Oh yeah, okay, sorry. Okay. Let's do that. What's going on there now? Let me share with you guys. No, I don't know because it kicked me out. You cannot. Oh, actually, if you stop sharing, mate, because it kicked me out.
I'll do that.
Not giving me the power. Okay, there we go. Yeah, this is where we are with the FTSE now. There's no doubt that this area is a solid area to try and trade from, and it's not because of this chart by any stretch. It's because of what we've got with the monthly chart, and the monthly chart is right on this low here. And if you like, that was the starting price of the last run to the upside, the last true run to the upside back into the start of 2016, just after Brexit. That's where we are. You know, we're back to the price that we had just after Brexit. Now, we know we're going to get up here at some point. The question is when and the question is, does it start here? Now, it did before, but what turns these markets around has got to be something probably, you know, fairly significant, and it could be a huge stimulus package by the ECB. You know, we've got those guys out. Those guys do have the power to move the market, like only China and America can. So that particular press conference, I can understand why people are probably, you know, going to get, you know, trying to get into positions that could buy this up. Because if we look at these on short-term timeframes, which is all we've got right now, you know, because at the minute in the UK, it's coming up to the first hour of trade. So we've only got the first hour of trade to go on. So we look at this on a 5-minute chart. This is the price action. We popped up and we've popped down. We've popped all the way back down again. But we are starting to sort of like see some orders get kicked in here. Now it might be that we need to test this low again before we really start to kick, and maybe we just take a speculative trade there, because even if we're getting you know, at these lows here, we may only need a 50 pip stop loss. You know, I would give it at least 50 pips. But the likelihood is we are likely to bounce off this this particular price point. It's a double bottom, but it won't have any indicators that will go with it, because the price is so is so clear, new down here. The price action is so new to see these areas. The indicators have not had a chance to catch up. But I might well take that trade. You know, it's a 54.60, which is 30 pips above where we are. Oh no, sorry, no, it's around about 100 pips of above where we are now. So actually at 80. So you're looking at 54. Yeah, actually pretty much the same price on the UK 100. So if you guys are going to trade it, there is an order to be put in at 54.60, or at least get to those lows down there with a 50 pip stop loss. And again, you're going to go in light. So it's probably worth the speculation if that happens just before the ECB press conference. Because as I say, I suspect there probably will be a little bit of buying up down there, and people just need a bit of relief, you know. I don't know what else is going to drive this market higher currently, and is it likely now that we get any kind of bullish price action that's going to take this weekly bar back up to this point? Well, that's a 700 pip grab, and the answer is yes, considering what we've got going on. There's a likelihood that anything can happen, but the probability is looking pretty slender. So I'm not sure what it would be. But there may well be a little bit of a grab. And what would be interesting is if we can end up at these highs today, you know, which again is a 260 pip run. And that may well, as I say, that's going to come from the ECB press conference, if anything. So might be worth that, mate. I might well take that trade if we get back down again to this point. I might just put in a quick order, purely trading on price, purely trading on the fact that that's where the last bull runs really started back in 2016, and with a 50 pip stop loss. I would have thought that'd be fairly safe. And also, we do have a decent run right back to these highs, and who knows, that might end up being the bar that really starts to get us moving back to the upside. So probably worth it, in my opinion. And you know, I'm kind of with you. I think that looking for the contrarian move down here isn't the worst trade in the world, but make sure whatever you put on, you can ignore. So you're not trying to hit this one out of the ballpark, because there's absolutely no reason. There's plenty of room to get us all the way back up there again. You know, we got over 1,000 pips to get back up there. That will be plenty of opportunities to build on the position if we start the lower trend from down here. Now, I tried that yesterday, didn't work out. But the reason that I wasn't too worried, yes, I came out at slightly better than break even, but I wouldn't have minded if I'd got stopped out. And the reason for that was because, you know, I went in so light that it wouldn't have mattered. It really wouldn't have mattered. So don't bank your account on it if you are going to try and get into that trade. But there is a price point down there.
Right, mate. So I'm not going to trade dollar yen. I'm going to wait. I am thinking that is the most prudent thing to do at the moment. I am bursting to know what the ECB is going to do, and I'm hoping they do nothing, if not little, and that we can get a rally on the euro, and I can try and get short again.
Yeah.
That's probably about where I'm at. Dollar Swissy, I'd like a pullback on dollar Swissy. We've now hit the daily pivot again. Pullback on dollar Swissy gets me, and a higher low gets me interested long. And the euro I've spoken about. Cable, I'm just going to give it a big miss at the moment. Obviously, we're short now on the breakout trade.
Nice. Okay.
But that's me.
Great stuff. All right. Well,
questions? Yeah.
Uh,
Andrew, you're welcome.
What have I missed?
If WTI and euro drops the same amount, ooh, now there's a question. Which will be a better trade and which will earn more? Oh my God.
Where are you seeing that?
Chris's question about 8 questions ago.
So, oh yeah, I got it. No, sorry, I didn't see that. Okay, Chris's question: if WTI and euro drops the same amount, which will be a better trade and which will earn more? It depends. When you say the same amount, do you mean the same amount of pips? Because the way you should work it out, Chris, is not the pip value, but what that pip value means for the percentage of the currency or commodity. So you want to work it out in percentage terms rather than pip terms. So you need to work out where your stop's going to be on both, and if it is a 1%, let's say you know, just to make the maths easier, you're going at 1% on both of them, and you're risking 1% of your account on both of them. If you put your stops 100 pips on the euro and 100 pips on WTI, that will be a different percentage run on both trades, you know, on WTI and the euro. I'm probably not explaining this very well, but you need to work out how much is 100 pips in percentage terms of WTI and how much is it on the euro, and that's how you work out if they drop the same, which one will make the more money, by doing it by percentage terms, not by pip count. Hopefully that answers that.
It's a tough question. It is a bit complex.
Yeah.
The dollar yen, Chris saying, what news outcome will make it bullish or bearish? News outcome today. What have we got?
Well, I tell you what might help the dollar yen, and this is the thing. You know, we are seeing a little bit of speculation as we look at the FTSE here, as there are just a few speculative traders getting in at these lows here. What will probably help the dollar yen is an ECB that comes out and is accommodative for the market, because the dollar yen, you know, the yen does become a bit of a proxy for the market in a lot of ways. You know, people will tend to flow to the yen when there is risk off the table. So if the ECB comes out and we start to see the stocks, so watch your indices when you're looking at the dollar yen. If the stocks start to move to the upside, and we can see that the S&P is right on the lows down here. But if stocks start to move to the upside, as is the Dow, then you would probably, you know, there's every likelihood that you see the dollar yen also rallying. So that could be your best course of action if you're trying to get into a long dollar yen and you're using something of a barometer to gauge whether it's going to take off or not.
Chandru, CAD is doubly affected, rate cut and oil fall. Yes, it is. That is very, very true. But that said, gee, I'm impressed by the economic news on balance, CAD versus just about anything on the boards, to be fair. So I think at some stage this is going to be a really cool selling opportunity, dollar CAD. But I don't know when, because it does depend a lot on oil, as you say. And of course, it has had the rate cut as well. So sometime I'll be looking for it to sell, and not even necessarily against the CAD to rally, not necessarily against the dollar, but the dollar will be fine. I think there's probably other currencies that it's going to outperform in the long term. So yeah, I'm absolutely on board with you. It's under extreme pressure, but there will come a time where it's not. And I'd like to know when that is. If you can help me there, that'd be great.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's us, mate, for the week.
That is us for the week.
We will post into the 2-minute brief just to see if there are any trades. Right now, I'm going to sit on my hands. I don't see any opportunities, and I don't have a clear reason except for that particular potential price point. But it is just that'd be very, very speculative. So I'll be going in hyper light, as I say, and then we'll see how we get on. But yeah.
My opportunities are yet to come today, I believe, and I think there's a few possibilities. So keep posted on the ones that I've given you an opportunity, or the opportunities that I see, and that's dollar Swissy long. Don't forget, after a higher low, dollar yen long also, maybe after it retests again a higher low on the double bottom that we're seeing on the charts. And euro dollar short if we get a rally off the news. That's where I'm at. So I think there's plenty of opportunity, but just got to be patient.
This is the link for the drop bot, Lewis. Just to post it again for you guys. There you go. All right, mate. We'll have a good weekend.
You too, buddy. Celebrate your birthday again with the dinner tomorrow night, is it?
Well, I'll be but no, probably Saturday. We'll probably go out in the day on Saturday and go and get a breakfast. I'm much more into the breakfast idea, to be honest.
Breakfast at Macca's, nothing beats it on a Saturday.
Yeah, we're doing a bit of that. So we'll do some of that. But yeah, speak soon, StarMax. Thanks so much, buddy. Thanks for your input as well.
Cheers, Andrew.
Very, very welcome. And I will see you on the Monday, Jeff. Same trade time, same trade channel at 5 to 8.
5 to 8, that's a date. Don't be late. Have a great weekend, everyone. Bye-bye for now. little sneaky bugger. No. Love you too.
Yahoo.Pixel, Google Analytics, Google Webmasters, Facebook Pixel, or any other pixel are codes if you want to place in your WordPress website. So first of all, you log in into your WordPress website. To do so, you can take the URL of your website, wp login, wp login.php. This will take you to the login page of your website. From there, you can log in. Your login page may look different because I have customized the page. So once logged in, over on the left side, dashboard. Once you're in the dashboard, appearance, editor. Within editor, you'll see an editor will open up. So a default file will open, but we are not interested in that. Instead, we'll try to find header.php file. So once the page loads, I'll show you that. Once done, on the right side, we can scroll and try to find header.php file. Let's keep scrolling. And here, here we'll see theme header, header.php. We'll click on that.
In this video, you'll learn how to add code to your WordPress header or footer area. A lot of times, different websites like Pinterest or Google will ask you to add pieces of code to your header area. So let me show you a quick way that you can add it to your website. First thing you want to do is you want to log in to your WordPress dashboard. Then from here, we want to scroll down to the plugins area and we want to click add new. We're going to add a very simple plugin to your website, and don't worry, it won't bog your website down or anything. It just makes it super easy for you to add the header or footer code like you need to. From the search area, let's go ahead and type in insert headers and footers. And this is the one we want. This is created and maintained by WP Beginner, that is us. So you want to install it, and then once it's installed, you want to hang around and go ahead and make sure that you click activate as well. Once it's activated, you'll get a message saying that it's been installed, and we can either click here to configure it, or if you ever need to come back to it, you can go down to settings, insert headers and footers to configure. Now, from here, you'll have to decide where the software that you're installing, it's usually a JavaScript, where they're asking you to put it. If they're wanting you to put it in the header, then you can put it up here. If they want you to put it just before the body closing, then that goes down here. So let me quickly show you how you can do that. For instance, if you want to install Pinterest pins on your site, then you have to have this bit of script installed throughout your website. I'm just going to grab this, and this is just for an example. If you really need to activate Pinterest on your site, then you can watch our video on how to do that here. So I'm going to grab this bit of code. You see that it's asking us to do it just before the closing body tag. So that means I want to put it in my footers area. I'm going to highlight this and copy, and then we'll head back over. We'll put it in the scripts and the footers. I'll right click and paste that. And now that that's pasted, now it's available on all of my site. The other two methods require changing out your theme, and so it's a little bit difficult to maintain. For instance, if you're doing it in the theme, you'll have to go into header and footer and actually change those pieces of code. Some other themes provide you with an area that you can fill out, but the problem with these two methods is if you ever change out your theme, then this bit of code is no longer on your site and might break whatever it is that you're trying to use. And that is why.
Okay, I like this. This sounds good.
Figure. Now, from here, you'll have to decide where the software that you're installing, it's your website. And don't worry, it won't bog your website down or anything. It just makes it super easy for you to add the header or footer code like you need to. From the search area, let's go ahead and type in insert headers and footer. filters. And this is the one we want. This is created and maintained by WP Beginner. That is us. So you want to install it. And then once it's installed, you want to hang around and go ahead and make sure that you click activate as well. Once it's activated, you'll get a message saying that it's been installed, and we can either click here to configure it, or if you ever need to come back to it, you can go down to settings, insert headers and footers to configure. Now from here,